Hey everyone, how's it going? This is Steve with All Those Off-Road, and today we're going to be talking about the Titan swap. This is probably going to be a multiple part series because there's a lot to cover and a lot of different perspectives and a lot of different ways that you can go about this. But today's going to be a foundational video about the Titan swap, what it is, what the benefits are, and everything like that. So on a fundamental level, the Titan swap is where you take the front suspension from a Nissan Titan and you bolt it onto a Nissan Frontier or Nissan Xterra. They about share the same frames and the mounting points on the front end are all the same. So the upper control arms bolt on, the lower control arms bolt on, the inner and outer tie rods all bolt on, and the front differential from the Nissan Titan, also referred to as the M205, is also a direct bolt-on. So there's a variety of benefits with this. The first benefit is going to be wheel travel. Because the Titan control arms are 3 inches wider per side, I'll throw a picture up here somewhere. Because it's 3 inches wider per side, more or less, you have the ability to have more wheel travel out of the vehicle. You see all of these racing companies doing long travel kits. Well, that's basically what it is. It's control arms that are longer so that you can achieve more wheel travel. Think of it in the way that, you know, which can cover more distance, your finger bending at this knuckle or at this knuckle, right? The longer your arm is, the more distance that you can cover at the end of the arm. So 3 inches wider per side, and and because of that, you can also get a lot of lift out of it. Most Titan swap people run between 4 and 4.5 inches of lift. The Titan swap doesn't automatically give you lift, but it just allows you to lift your vehicle more. Just like the Frontier, the Nissan Titan suspension also suffers from coil bucket contact. So in order to get all of the wheel travel that you need out of a Frontier, you're going to want to run an aftermarket upper control arm. The big companies would be SPC, CJD, and Dirt King for those. Trying to think what else to talk about. So the reason that I say the primary benefit of a Titan swap is wheel travel is because that's the only thing that comes immediately after doing a Titan swap, at least a proper Titan swap. For example, people will say the number one benefit of a Titan swap is the stronger front differential. While yes, the Titan differential is stronger, you don't need to swap in the Titan differential in order to accomplish a Titan swap. On a fundamental level, the Titan swap is merely the Titan upper lower control arms that give you that extra width. When people say that when people swap in the M205 as well, they usually refer to it as something along the lines of a full Titan swap, or, you know, whatever. There are Titan swaps without the M205, and there are also M205 swaps without the Titan swap. So the M205 and the Titan swap are not permanently bound together. So that's why I say that the number one benefit of a Titan swap is the width and increased travel rather than the strength from the M205, because they can happen independent of each other. As far as the shocks go, Titan shocks don't work. This is a common misconception. People think that when you do the Titan swap, you just bolt on Titan shocks. That's not how it works. Basically, you're going to be using Frontier form factor shocks in the sense of Frontier top hat, you know, Frontier, you know, lower end, whatever. The lengths are a little bit different though. So a Frontier shock is about 16.5 inches, I believe, from the top of the top hat to the center of the eyelet. When for a Titan swap, you're going to want it to be around 18 inches long. You can go a little bit higher, but don't go too far. And you can certainly go lower, but you won't have all of the droop you're looking for. I will also throw up a picture of a droop comparison between a stock Frontier and a Titan swap. As you can see, because the Titan arms are significantly longer, it allows you to droop way further than you would be able to on a stock Frontier. I say Frontier, but I also mean Frontier and Xterra. even the Pathfinder, they all share the same front ends, so we can tighten swap all of these no problem. As far as coilover options go, Radflow is probably the most popular because they're one of the only companies that is making a shock specifically designed for the Titan swap. Radflow has been supporting the Nissan platform for quite some time, and there are many other brands out there, but they don't really cater towards the Nissans as much as they could if they wanted to. So that's why Radflow is the most popular. Another popular option is to use a Tundra Bilstein 5100, but there are some modifications that you need to make in order to implement it properly, and that's kind of a relatively complicated subject, so I'll probably do another video on that just to kind of hammer out all the details. But don't be tricked into believing that the Tundra 5100 is going to be a direct bolt-on. It's not. You do need to modify it in some ways, which, as I said before, we'll cover that in another video. Next up, I'm kind of rambling at this point, but we can talk about the Titan swap all day long. I'm personally Titan swapped. We've done a number of Titan swaps at All Dogs Off-Road. You do need extended brake lines. That's one thing that I did forget, because your arms are both further out and drooping lower, so you need the longer brake lines to accommodate that extra droop and that extra width. So one common misconception with the Titan swap is that people are under the assumption that all they need to do is head down to the local junkyard, grab a wrecked Titan, and boom, you have a Titan swap. Unfortunately, that's not the case if you're trying to achieve a proper Titan swap in the sense of an off-roading perspective, which basically would be achieving the most wheel travel possible and you know, having all of that off-road capability. While yes, it is a Titan swap, there are very few OEM components that you're actually going to want to use, and of those OEM components that you want to use, there's probably only one that you would want to pull off a Titan, and that would be the M205. Everything else you would probably want to source new OEM or like Rock Auto, Moog, Mevitech, whatever. And the reason for that is, one, taking lower control arms and steering and everything like that off of a wrecked Titan is a pain and definitely not worth it. And the benefits of buying new is that you get, you know, new ball joints, new bushings, and you just know that they're decent quality items, because if you're doing a Titan swap, you know, you would want to do it's also a suspension refresh. So there's definitely a lot to be said for not going to the junkyard and not grabbing, you know, a lower control arm with 250,000 miles on it. So of the OEM components you need, the front diff would really be the only one that you'd want to pull off a Titan, and the axles if they're in good shape. But inner and outer tie rods and lower control arms, I would absolutely recommend sourcing off of a website such as Rock Auto. We at All Dogs Off-Road, on our Titan swap page, we actually drop part numbers that you need, because we would rather you just source them yourself. There's no reason for us to have to, you know, buy them and then mark them up to you when you can simply, you know, just buy them directly. Now, as far as the aftermarket stuff goes, as I said before, upper control arms, coilovers, extended brake lines, and then that's just for the front. And then for the rear, obviously you have to do something, but the rear, you don't Titan swap the rear in most cases. Usually what people are doing is they're just running a regular Frontier lift in order to achieve about 4 to 4.5 inches in the rear. And usually what most people do is they run add a leaf or a leaf pack to get 2 inches, and then they run a 2-inch shackle. That will get you exactly where you need to be, and you'll ride well, and it'll also flex out really well on the trails. It's possible I'm missing something, but I'm gonna throw up a couple pictures for you here, just so you can kind of get a general idea of what your Titan swap's gonna look like, how it's gonna perform, and everything like that. Another thing that is important to note is that the wheel travel gains that you get from a Titan swap are not necessarily because of the shock. It's more to do with the improved suspension geometry with the Titan swap. And by improved suspension geometry, I mean everything is wider, allows for more wheel travel, and everything like that. The shock does need to be longer to compensate for that droop, but as far as a travel number on the shock goes, it's actually relatively similar to a stock Frontier. So if there's one cool thing that you can learn from that, it's the fact that it's not the shock that gives the travel necessarily, it's the improved geometry that gives the travel. And another thing to know about the wheel travel you're going to get out of a Frontier, as far as a direct bolt-on goes, unless you're chopping stuff out and throwing in shock hoops, the max travel you're going to see is going to be under 11 inches. Probably most people are getting 10 to 10.5. There are claims of 12 inches of wheel travel. That's simply not true. I'm not aware of anybody who's actually proved that they have 12 inches out of a Titan swap. But you know, if they are out there, I'd love to see them. I simply haven't been able to get that out of my Frontier. Even with the shock removed, it just doesn't seem like the geometry can support 12 inches of wheel travel. So that's why we say 10 to 10.5. Which, you know, regardless is a dramatic improvement over stock. A stock Frontier has around 6 inches of wheel travel from the factory. So the Titan swap is an enormous improvement for off-roading, and definitely worth looking into if you want your rig to be a trail rig. Road manners do suffer to a degree because most people just ditch their Frontier sway bar, primarily because it just won't fit anymore. There are people who have opted to use a Titan sway bar, but the overwhelming amount of people who are doing Titan swaps ditch the sway bar because they're after off-road performance, and a sway bar does hinder your wheel travel when you're off-road. So this video is transitioning into a Titan swap that we did about a week ago for a local, well, not too local, he's in Omaha, we're in Lincoln. His name's John, great guy. He was running our complete kit for a while and it did great, but he just kind of wanted to step up to something a little bit crazier. So the Titan swap is the obvious solution. So we're going to be transitioning this video into the video of us tackling that Titan swap, and throughout the video I'll either do like a voiceover or I'll just kind of throw myself on the screen and describe what's going on. But it's a super great build. He's very happy with it. It's a monster truck at this point. It's actually bigger than mine because he has a small body lift on there and slightly bigger tires. But it's a really fun project to tackle if you're experienced and you have a good selection of tools and the vehicle, nothing is super seized in the truck. You can knock one out in about 5 hours. I think that our time start to finish was like a hair under 5 hours, but that was us grinding nonstop, and we've done a lot of these before, and we have a full shop. So if you're doing a Titan swap in your driveway, which I did, it took me, with hand tools, it took me about, I think, 12 hours to do mine, and it was a miserable job. So it's fun to do though. So if you're in a situation where you have the skill, you have the ability to do it, you have the tools to do it, it's easy to do yourself. It's just pulling parts off, putting parts on. But if you have access to a full shop, I would absolutely recommend doing that. Makes the process easier. But if you don't want to pay somebody, you know, find a shop that your friend will let you use or knock it out in your driveway. Either will be just fine. I can't imagine a shop would charge you a good rate to install a Titan swap because the Nissan platform is already relatively foreign to them. So coming at them with a full mod like this, they're probably going to charge you obscene amounts of money to install it. So using your own resources to make it happen is usually the better option. It is Titan swap day at All Dogs Off-Road. We got this 2011 Pro-4X. John was originally running our kit and very happy with it, performs well, but he said that he's ready to step it up to a Titan swap, so that's what we're here doing today. John, tell me about the parts that you picked and why you picked them.
I think we went with 2.5s in the front, did we?
Rad for the 2.5s up front.
I was gonna go with 2.0s, but for like an extra, was it extra 100 or whatever it was, I was like, you might as well get the big boys and call it a day.
And you're going to SPC Titan upper control arms.
Which in your guys' website you had like everything laid out for Rock Auto parts. definitely go that route. Like, it made everything more manageable in terms of budget. Pretty much like the whole expensive thing, and I think was just pretty much the upper and the rad flows itself.
So if you're keeping your R180, tell us how you're gonna do that.
Like you said in your guys' website, it was, you had like the CV axle, like a perfect swap for this, because apparently I don't think it's even the US Armadas. I think it was the Mexico Armadas.
It's the QX80s.
Yeah, that has those axles, and it's like it fits perfectly with these.
Yep. So for the first thing that we're gonna do for the Titan swap is we're just tearing off the whole front end here, because pretty much everything's gonna get swapped out. The only thing that's really staying is gonna be the spindle, knuckle, and brake calipers. We're gonna be replacing brake lines, coilovers, upper arms. Steering is coming out, being replaced, as are... Oh, you got steering extensions, didn't you?
Yeah, I got steering extensions. I was gonna get the, like what you guys have in the kit, with it's pretty much like a whole Titan or Armada kit, but I was like, man, I don't want to go that route.
Glad you got them. We're it does make the process a little bit easier to not have to deal with the inner tie rods, but hopefully it should be an easy swap. We're coming over to the rear now, and John already has lift shackles in the rear, so all that we're going to be needing to do is throw on an add leaf and toss on our longer shocks here. All right, so we have our Titan swap rad flows, 2.5 inch shock body diameter. These should be preset to around 4 to 4.5 inches of lift. We had them built with 600-pound coils. If John had a heavy bumper, we would have gone with 650s, but he does not, so 600 should be just perfect for him.
Yeah, this should just perfectly be set, because I don't know, I'm not gonna go heavy anytime soon. If anything, I'm gonna focus more on like the underbody and all that good stuff, so things don't get broken underneath.
Right.
But these are, holy crap, I didn't realize how big these are.
Oh yeah, they dwarf. Compared
to like, let's go over there and compare it to the... Jesus.
Yes, next to the Bilsteins, it is not even a competition. You can just look at the lengths alone. The Titan swap rad flows are significantly longer.
Jesus.
And the shaft is also significantly bigger. The Bilsteins here are equipped with a 1/2 inch shaft, and this is a 7/8 inch shaft.
Sheesh. But yeah, I mean, I'm glad there's at least, like, rad flow at least supports Frontiers, because that's the hard part.
Oh
finding, like, almost like, you know, close to your own specs, what you want to do stuff.
Yes, it can be very difficult to find a domestic manufacturer who makes coilovers for the Frontier.
Next here.
Let's take a look at the rears now.
Ooh. Man, they gave us a shirt.
Oh yeah.
Wow. These are pretty long. Holy crap, these are long.
All right. So these should be around 24 inches long for the extra travel that you're going to need out of the Titan swap. You have your Schrader valve right here in case you ever need to rebuild the shock. You can recharge it with nitrogen from right there.
And how, so you said extended, they're 24 inches extended?
They should be around 24 inches extended.
And how far do they compress?
And it should be about 8 to 8.5 inches of travel right there.
That's a lot of travel.
Yes. All right. Next, we got our CV axles.
I don't think I've opened these. They might be.
Dude, I was literally doing all of this like a couple days ago because I was redoing arms and axles.
It is. Yeah, I have not opened these. Oh, it comes with a new freaking nut. I did not know that.
Big boy.
Usually it does not. Here we go.
Nice. I'm gonna grab an OEM CV really quick so we can compare them. This is off of a factory Frontier. So you can take a peek. You can see that the mounting locations are all the same here, except we are Titan swap length on this one and Frontier length on that one.
Yeah, because I think in the website it shows you the actual part number, which I literally did, and it just...
Yep, it should be Rock Auto NI 8433.
I think it says it right here.
NI 8433 is what it should be. And in an effort to save us from opening the lower control arms, what we're gonna do is take a peek over here. And you can see we have a Frontier control arm on the left, and we have a Titan control arm on the right. Mounting points are identical. The Titan is just longer. And that is what the wheel travel gains come from.
Yes, sir. I'm
excited. Let's get into this build and let's do it.
I know.
Alright, first steps of the Titan swap are done. We have our Titan SPC arm in here, and as you can see, it just offers way more travel and clearance than the coil bucket, which is the #1 issue with Frontiers. As you can see, you can droop past the limitations of the ball joint before you hit the coil bucket. And longer and super beefy, so we're gonna tackle the lower arms next and get these coilovers swapped out, and we will be well on our way. Alright, so the first side is just about all done. We have our Radflow coilovers in, the new axles in, lower arms. All that we have left to do is steering and our brake lines. So the upper arm is in loosely. You can see significant droop improvement. We'll go over here to stock. So way more droop already, as you can see. I'll try to level it as best as you can, but Titan swap, stock, crazy improvement. So onto the brake lines, onto the steering. All right, so here's the progress we've made so far. I've unzipped the U-bolts, taken off this top nut here, disconnected the lower shock, and we have the axles here supported by a stand. And what we're gonna do next is disconnect this bracket here, which is just an Allen wrench, but if it's seized up, you can just chop it, whatever you wanna do. And then we're gonna lower the axle, pull this out, and then put the add leaf in. This is a great thing to do if you don't want to have to disconnect your front and rear leaf pack bolts and pull the whole thing out. So hopefully we'll be able to get it knocked out without having to take the leaf pack out of the truck. Part 2 of adding an add leaf without removing the leaf pack. So I have a clamp here to hold everything together, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to clamp the pack together, and then I'm going to feed the bolt through the bottom, and we'll be good to go. This screwdriver we're just using to locate the leaves onto the axle. And then once that's done, we'll be swapping out our Bilstein 5100 here for the Radflow rears, which as you can see, we'll give you a length comparison here. Significantly longer. So once we do that, we'll be almost on this side of the rear. So stay tuned. Here we have a side-by-side of the old 5100s next to the new Radflow extended length rear shocks. So as you can see, they're a good amount longer, which is going to give us that extra droop that we're looking for out of the Titan swap. And we'll run up here, and the add leaf is all in. The U-bolts are in. We just have yet to torque them. Really nice. Should bring this old leaf pack back to life. As you can see, you know, we have a lot of droop here. The shocks aren't in yet, but we should be in great shape after this. All right, we have the rear all buttoned together here. We got our Radflow extended travel rear shocks in with our add leaf. Existing shackles stayed on, and we got it on this side as well. If we hop out here, you can see that it has a significant amount of droop, much more than stock. So this is great improvement. And then circling over here to the front, we got everything put together. All we have to do now is bleed the brake lines and torque some bolts, and we'll be good to go. Just get some more shots here of the way better geometry with the Titan swap. And as you can see, no coil bucket contact. The hoop on the control arm clears the coil bucket perfectly. And the Radflows look awesome with the red brake lines and the bump stops. So we're almost done. Yeah. We are coming to an end here. We are making sure everything's tight. Massive difference in stance. We're super excited to get it onto the ground and see how it looks. But just the room in the wheel wells alone, I mean, it's like it's a whole nother truck. The Titan swap it really is one of the best things you can do to these Frontiers. And the stance is awesome just on the lift, so when we drop it, we're super excited to see where it sits. The fronts, as we said, should be set up for about 4 to 4.5 inches. So that'll be super awesome. And we kind of eyeballed the steering, but we're going to take it to an alignment shop after this to get it professionally done.
We just want tow.
Yeah, we want to make sure it'll drive. So John's finishing up here, torquing the, let me sneak in, see what you're doing. Torquing the upper control arms. And oh yeah. Oh yeah. So we'll have this on the ground shortly.
Holy crap, dude. That is tall. Look real quick. Left.
All right, we got first impressions. Take a right.
Basically, so far, it does not drive like a bit. I guess I'm just used to mine without a sway bar end link.
Mm-hmm.
This actually doesn't feel bad for how tall it is. It's actually pretty manageable. So far so good. A lot of clearance.
Oh yeah, tons of it.
It looks insane. It has to be. Everything's tight. Double to be sure. That's so funny. How was that, Steve-O?
Looks good.
Put next to the other Frontier.
The first gen.
Yeah.
First gen gang.
Let's do it.
So as I kind of hinted to earlier in the video, I'm going to be taking the larger concept of the Titan swap and breaking it down into smaller pieces and doing videos on that just so you can kind of get a more focused information on each aspect of the Titan swap. Specifically, you know, coilovers, upper control arm choices, how to handle the rear, the benefits and drawbacks of an M205 swap as far as cost, time, and strength goes, and stuff like that. So as I said before, not a one-part video. We're going to have more coming, but I hope this gives you a general idea of what the Titan swap is. You watched it happen earlier in the video. We saw John's install go pretty smoothly. So if you have any questions, please drop them below. It'll give me an idea of what topics I should cover next when I do you know, a more focused video on different aspects. And love reading comments, I love replying to comments. So hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you learned something, and I will see you on the next video.